in a world where quiet quitting has become trendy, and then almost the commitment seems optional.
Mm-hmm.
We face a growing challenge in ministry, that the normalization of giving up. And so this mindset, I'm afraid that this mindset has creeped into churches.
Mm-hmm.
And, our church, other churches, I hear different things. And so this affects everything from volunteer retention to spiritual growth, everything in between. So as leaders, especially in the church, in the apostolic church,
Mm-hmm.
we need to create a counterculture.
Absolutely.
This is a culture across, certainly in the secular world, I see it nonstop in the workplace.
Yeah.
And so we need to celebrate, perseverance, commitment, faithful endurance. And so then I just kind of put a note there about, remember Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane.
Yeah.
He wanted to quit. And he said,
Absolutely.
nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think just kind of in this, to combat this culture of quitting, I'm kind of thinking of it from a couple different angles. One is, if you're trying to do something, we're still in January, and so if you're trying to do something and create a habit or something, and you seem to hit a brick wall,
Mm-hmm.
maybe give it another shot or come at it from a different angle.
Yeah.
So that's one way of looking at this. But the other way, and this is kind of what I'm talking about creeping into churches, is not just on a personal level, but on a ministry level,
Mm-hmm.
of saying, oh, you know what, I've been, an usher. I've been an usher for 5 years, and you know what, I'm going to quit. I'm just tired of doing that. Fighting that culture.
Oh, yeah.
Of just like, I think I'll quit doing, outreach.
Absolutely.
I'll quit doing whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the deal is, it really does seem like like you said, there is that culture. When I got the opportunity, more recently to preach in our church, that was something I brought up. Just something I was thinking about is the commitment level is so, it's so, like you said, it's that culture where it's becoming popular to not have commitment. And people they won't admit and say, yeah, I don't have commitment, but their view of commitment is so flawed. It's like, I'm committed until something doesn't go right.
Yeah.
And it's completely defies what commitment's all about.
Exactly.
Commitment is the commitment is it about, when everything's going good, because it's easy to keep doing what's, right and what's good,
exactly.
when everything's going positive, but the commitment comes in when you're facing some resistance, when you're, facing opposition. And that's where, too much of the time in ministry or something is where you start feeling tired. You maybe not even seeing results right away or something.
So you
and
can't
feel
ride that wave.
Yeah. And you feel like, man, I'm just going to give up. But I was thinking, when I was looking at kind of the notes you'd sent me and stuff, just of what we were talking about, I was thinking about the Bible and how it, talks about, let us not be weary in well doing.
Oh yeah, that's good.
And then it says why? Because in due season we are going to reap if we faint not.
If we faint not.
If we do not quit. You think about that farmer, he's out there, he may not see the growth right away. Yep. But he just keeps doing it. And, expecting there's going to be results. But if he quits, then, there's no results.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and I think that sometimes I believe that a lot of the quitting does come from, sometimes it's like a lack of the gratification, like the instant gratification, right? It's a lot easier to be like, yeah, let's go, when you do this thing and then you get a bunch of accolades.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
That's a lot easier than just doing something, cleaning toilets over and over and over again. You don't get all those accolades and everything. So
it is such a powerful topic. And it's funny because we were talking about this beforehand, before we started the recording, and you were asking me, like, you got a bunch of stuff to talk about. And at first I'm just like, I have some things, but not a lot. But now my brain is really, really spinning, like I said it does. But I think about people, and once again referring to the Bible, there's so many stories where it's like if that person quit right before their breakthrough,
yes,
right before they had their prayer answered, right before these needs, and referring back to what I had touched on in that message, I titled it "Until I Prevail," talking about Jacob. You know, here he is wrestling the angel, and the angel tells him, he says, because you have prevailed, you have overcome, you didn't quit,
you pushed.
And then another example would be like Cornelius. Imagine if Cornelius just like, hey, I'm not seeing results, and he quit just a day before that angel came over. Man. I mean, that would have been, you know, I mean, so many examples, but I feel like people quit too much of the time right before something good happens in their life.
Yeah, exactly.
Results.
And I think sometimes we don't maybe realize the impact that we are having too. And so it's not just our own breakthrough, but it's like we are making a difference. Yeah. And because we don't get an attaboy or a pat on the shoulder, we're just like, I'm going to quit this. I'm not needed anyway. Nobody notices if I show up or not. And they do.
Absolutely. You stop doing it and it's
noticed.
You notice. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.